Hello, in this video we are going to have a comprehensive review of Tesla Semi. We are going to talk about 9 things that are good about Tesla Semi, and then 7 things that are bad about Tesla Semi, and then 7 things that are ugly about Tesla Semi. If it was a normal review, we could complete the evaluation by saying what are the things that are good about Tesla Semi and what are the things that are bad about Tesla Semi. But when it comes to Tesla, things get a bit more complicated, and then we need to have another section in which we talk about the ugly things. Welcome to our video again. My name is Erkan Altınsoy and I am an ex-motoring journalist and a truck driver with some experience in Europe. I think I'm in a good position to discuss Tesla Semi from a truck driver's perspective and also from the trucking industry perspective. In the last few years, the electric cars and light commercial vehicle sales have been increasing at a rapid rate, and last year more than 10 million electric cars were sold in the world. And if we include those who were sold this year, at the moment there are more than 25 million electric cars and light commercial vehicles in the world. When it comes to Tesla Semi, as you may know, the Tesla Semi was introduced in 2017 and it was going to be delivered in 2019, and the order books were opened, many orders were taken, but it was not delivered in 2019. If it was delivered, that would really be a breakthrough because there wasn't any other electric heavy vehicles at that time. However, as of now, in 2023 and the month of August, Tesla Semi is still not launched. First, we talk about the good things. Number 1, no exhaust emissions. So there is no pollution to the immediate environment. Number 2, very silent. Electric vehicles are very silent because of the electric motors which are working silently. There is no diesel engine, so there is not much noise. These first 2 things, of course, Tesla Semi shares with the other electric heavy trucks. The third good thing about Tesla Semi is that it is good PR for this sector. Anything Tesla does or says draws a lot of attention, so when Tesla enters their segment with a vehicle, then of course it is good for the PR of this electric heavy vehicle segment. This is a positive contribution. At times it might be controversial, but still a positive contribution. The fourth good thing about Tesla Semi is that it is bringing a very good competition to this segment of the market. It will raise the standards and also push the others to become better. The fifth good thing is the high performance from Tesla Semi. It has 3 electric motors and the total horsepower is around 1000, so that's quite higher than the normal semi trucks. Normally they have 400 to 500, and there are some special diesel trucks which are used for special loads, which are like 600 or 700 horsepower in Europe or in United States. But Tesla Semi has more horsepower than those other diesel trucks. Of course, Tesla promoting it as badass performance is a bit irresponsible, but still it is a positive thing. The sixth good thing about Tesla Semi is the long range. Tesla Semi has 2 versions. One is 300 mile, the other is 500 mile version. So these are basically 480 kilometers and 800 kilometers. Although the batteries are not advised to be charged or discharged fully, still the net range could be over 600 kilometers, which is good for this kind of job, and still it is longer than the rivals. The 7th good thing about Tesla Semi is the fast charging. Tesla Semi will use a 1 megawatt charger, and they will be charging the Tesla Semi in about 30-35 minutes from 20% to 80%. So it will be very quick, like quick enough to do it in let's say at a lunchtime or a normal break for the driver. The 8th good point about Tesla Semi that it is energy efficient with a sleek shape. Since Tesla Semi was designed from scratch, unlike the rivals models, Tesla Semi has an aerodynamic coefficient of 0.36, which is much better than even some sports cars, let alone the other trucks. This is very good because the vehicle can travel in the air in an easier way, so it will consume less energy while driving. Number 9 and the last good point about Tesla Semi is the lower maintenance costs. As with the other electric heavy trucks, Tesla Semi doesn't have a diesel engine and a complicated transmission. That means in the long term the maintenance costs will be lower. There's no need for regular oil changes or regular maintenance. This all adds up to lower maintenance costs. Of course, we don't know how the batteries will hold in the long run, but at the moment we can say they have lower costs. We have completed what is good. Now let's go to see what is bad about Tesla Semi. Number one bad thing about Tesla Semi is that it is coming to the market later than announced, and it's not even on sale now. With its passenger cars, Tesla has introduced a disruptive technology at the time and was a pioneer, and the other traditional car makers were at least half a decade behind. However, Tesla Semi is entering the electric heavy vehicle segment after its rivals. If the original launch date of 2019 was realized, Tesla Semi could have been one of the pioneers in this segment too. However, it was not possible. Tesla Semi did not come also in 2020 and not in 2021. Only at the end of 2022, Tesla semis were delivered to Pepsi for testing. At the time, of course, Tesla presented this as deliveries to customers, but it was not real delivery. It was just starting off testing with Pepsi, and the series production did not begin. Meanwhile, since 2019, rivals introduced their own models in the heavy electric segment. For example, in the United States, the Chinese BYD, and then Freightliner with Egg Cascadia, and then Nikola Tre, of course, the electric truck, and then also Volvo VNR Electric. They were all introduced to the market in the United States. And in Europe, of course, there is the traditional truck makers, Scania, Volvo, DAF, and Mercedes. They all have their electric heavy trucks in the market. If you want to buy an electric truck, you just go to them, order, and after a few months, you get them. But for the Tesla Semi, that's not possible. Secondly, Tesla is heavier than its rivals in the 800 kilometer range version. So it has two versions, 300 mile or 500 kilometer version is probably similar to the other electric trucks in terms of weight. But in the 800 kilometer version, Tesla uses more batteries in order to have more range, and that means it is heavier, but it is hurting the payload capacity, so it will carry less load. And that will be a problem for many operators because they always want to maximize their payload capacity. With the Tesla Semi long range version, that is not going to be possible. Number 3 for the bad things about Tesla Semi is that the charging infrastructure is not ready. Of course, this is a problem shared with the other electric heavy trucks. Currently, customers buying heavy electric vehicles are setting up superchargers in their warehouses or facilities that they work with in order to provide charging for these vehicles because the public charging infrastructure is not ready. You cannot just buy an electric heavy truck and just get on the road and charge everywhere. That is not possible yet. And it is going to be one of the biggest bottlenecks that will prevent heavy electric trucks from selling more. The reason is these charging stations require a lot of power from the grid. And let's say if you want to establish a charging station with 10 chargers, let's say, then it would require as much power as a small factory or a small town. And that's a lot of power. So it would be quite difficult to get that level of power from the grid, and you would need a lot of time and investment and a lot of bureaucracy, so it will take time. Even if you have the money, you cannot get it immediately. And in the long term, I think this is one of the biggest problems hindering the development of the electric heavy trucks. Number 4 in the bad things about Tesla Semi is that charging fast will degrade the battery faster. It is good to have a very fast charger at a megawatt level, for example, so that you can charge your batteries faster and get on the road immediately. However, this is a problem for the batteries because, especially in the truck applications, they will be discharged every day in an intensive use and then, of course, charged in an intensive way with these megawatt chargers. These intensive discharge and charge cycles will shorten the lifespan of the batteries. With the current technology, that's a big problem. Maybe in the next generation of the technology, we will have better batteries. Number 5 is that the initial price and the investment cost is too high. As we talked before, there is need for superchargers because we don't have enough of them publicly, but the price of an electric semi-truck is also at least 2 times the price of a diesel truck. So together, the electric heavy truck plus the superchargers means the initial investment cost is too high. So that's a problem for Tesla Semi and all the other electric heavy trucks. Number 6 in the bad things about Tesla Semi is the interior cabin design. It is neither safe nor practical from a driver's point of view. According to Tesla, the cabin design of Tesla Semi is revolutionary. However, many drivers, including myself, are not happy with this design. Although the cabin layout is a bit different in Europe and USA, they have some common features. For example, they have 2 seats at the front and there's a space between them, and behind them there are beds, and in the American ones also like a bigger cabin than the European ones. So that's the basic layout. Also, there are doors next to the seats and there are opening windows immediately to the left of the driver. In Europe, the cabin is shorter and it's over the engine. In USA, it is longer, but it is behind the engine, and the cabin in USA could be as long as you want because there's no restrictions on the length of the cabin. In the Tesla Semi, the driver is at the center of the cabin and the cabin is getting narrower towards the front. So, the first big problem with this cabin design is this. In the central seating position, if there's no one in front of you, like a big vehicle, high vehicle, then you can see it well. But when there is another truck in front of you or a bus, then it is just blocking your view. And since you are sitting at the center, you cannot just move your head a bit to the left and see what's going on in the front, or maybe even move the vehicle like 10-15 centimeters towards the left of the lane to see what's going on in front of you. You are just blocked by the high vehicle in front of you, and this is just limiting your vision. Also, if you are driving in a two-way road, if you want to overtake the vehicle in front of you, your vision is blocked if it's a high vehicle, and you just need to move a little bit to the left. But since you are sitting at the center, that would be dangerous. Like, you cannot move all the way, until the half of the vehicle is outside your lane. So either you fall back and try to get a better vision to the front. So overtaking in a two-way road is quite difficult in the Tesla Semi central driving position. Another thing related to the vision is just your vision to the back when you are reversing. Since you are sitting at the center, you have to rely on your mirrors only and the cameras if you have cameras. So when you are reversing, drivers prefer to open the window and look directly to the back because that way they can see it better. You can judge the distance better and you can judge where the truck is going better. If you just rely on the mirrors or cameras, that's not good enough. So with the Tesla Semi, you don't have that advantage because you are sitting at the center. So both sides become blind sides for you, and This is a disadvantage while reversing your truck. Also, having opening windows next to the driver is a very practical thing because you hand out documents. For example, when entering a factory or going outside the factory, sometimes you are using it to get your ticket for the tolls in a motorway. And also in Europe, for example, we have lots of borders, and at the borders we have to hand our passports and other documents. And there are other scenarios where we need to open the window and exchange some documents or at least talk to another person. In the Tesla Semi, you have to stop the vehicle and just go out of your position to the back, open the door, and just handle documents or whatever. The Tesla Semi's side window is opening, but it's like a vent type window, and it's just like very small space, and it would be very difficult to give the documents from that opening. It's just very narrow, just for getting some air. And also we need to talk about this corridor in the Tesla Semi cabin. In such a small space, the last thing you want to do is to waste half of the cabin space with a corridor. And that's exactly what the Tesla Semi does. In that corridor there is a foldable seat for a passenger and some hooks. But these are not very important things, It's not worth wasting the corridor for that. I think this is not a better interpretation of the modern cabin design. It's just a novice interpretation of the cabin design, which tries to pass itself as innovative. You cannot afford to waste so much space in that cabin. And now we come to the driving position and the controls. The driver is sitting at the center with two 15-inch monitors on both sides. In front of the driver, there are no instruments like speed or whatever. These monitors show all the functions plus the mirrors and the camera views, and the driver has to use these for most of the things. There is a very bad tendency in recent times to put everything on these screens. For me, it is very surprising because we are not allowed to use our phones or tablets while driving, but manufacturers keep putting lots of monitors, touch screens on our vehicles and expect us to use them, and these are of course distracting. These touch screens are not safe and practical. Of course, Tesla is one of the worst ones in the overuse of these monitors. For many people, these touch screens look high technology, but there's another reason why manufacturers use them, because if you design physical buttons and controls and engineer them and produce them and put them in your truck or any vehicle, it is more expensive. You just put two touch screens and you can just use all the functions from there, and from the manufacturer's point of view, it's very cost effective. And also these two screens look very, how shall I say, computer like somebody went to the shop at the corner and bought two 15-inch screens, just put it there. There could have been a more integrated design where the shape of these screens is just integrated to the dashboard with some additional physical buttons and controls. And of course there's not even a bed in the cabin, and this is actually very strange because Tesla is always emphasizing the long range of the Semi, but for the moment until now Tesla has shown us like a day cab. I think it gives a mixed signal. Maybe Tesla will just design and add a bed to the cabin in order to emphasize the long range of Tesla Semi. Now we come to number 7 of the bad things about Tesla Semi. Actually, there are 3 small things. I was not sure about mentioning them or not, but I will just say them like potential risks for Tesla Semi. In terms of product quality, Tesla is always ranking towards the bottom of the lists. When there's a research by, let's say, Consumer Report or JD Power, Tesla is either the last or second or third from the last. And there is a real problem with the product quality. If we add to this bad customer relations experience of many Tesla owners, there is a potentially big problem for Tesla ahead because the users of these heavy trucks, they are using them for work every day, and whenever they get problems and these problems are not solved immediately, they get frustrated. And this looks like a potential risk for Tesla because up to now Tesla was not able to improve its quality or customer relations. The second small thing is the exterior design of the Tesla Semi. For some it looks okay, but for many people, including some Tesla fans, the styling is a bit bland. There could be some modifications to this design where it would become a little bit more sophisticated. And since Tesla wants to be badass, then the design also I think has to be badass to match that performance. The last small thing about Tesla Semi is that I'm not sure that this cabin design is legal for Europe or Asia. If Tesla wants to sell the Semi in these regions, maybe they will have some modifications to the cabin and maybe make it shorter in some ways to fit for the legal requirements in those regions. So these were the bad things about Tesla Semi, and now let's move on to the ugly things. With a normal manufacturer, we would just stop here because we would talk about what is good and bad, and then the review would be finished. However, when it comes to Tesla, we need to have another section where we talk about the ugly things. In general, the way Tesla overpromises and underdelivers is the problem. This is almost like a company policy or company principle. Always say more than what you can deliver. Deceptive marketing, speculations, manipulations, all are part of the Tesla PR. And as the face and main spokesman for Tesla, Elon Musk is always playing for the stock market, always trying to give them positive messages. Whether these PR pieces are true or not, it doesn't matter. They don't care. So, when we talk specifically about Tesla Semi, what are the ugly things with Tesla Semi? The first ugly thing is that the Tesla Semi is still not on sale, and it will not be on sale until the end of 2024. As you might remember, we have already talked about this in the previous section. However, here I will just try to explain how this becomes ugly, because this is like a company policy. Tesla Semi was promised to be in the market in 2019, but it did not happen. It was only 3 years later when the first Tesla Semis were delivered to Pepsi for testing purposes, and that's not even the start of sales. This we can see after 8 months since last December that Tesla is not on sale now. It's just doing testing with Pepsi in real life conditions. At the end of last year in the Pepsi delivery event, Elon Musk said the series production of Tesla Semi would start at the end of 2023. But now, just 1 month ago, Elon Musk made another announcement that the series production of Tesla Semi will only start at the end of 2024. A project can be late. That's not a problem actually, because we always see some project being late and these things can happen. However, with Tesla, this is almost like a bad habit. They just promise something and they promise that it will be next year and then next year and then next year. The next year never comes. I would like to give you an example regarding this. In a similar product that Tesla sells, Elon Musk has been promising the same thing every year. Now, if we look at this Jalopnik article from last year, it says Elon Musk is promising FCD for next year for the 9th year in a row. As you know, FCD means full self-driving. According to Elon Musk, it was going to be full, meaning a person would go from LA to New York without touching anything, by sleeping, playing with the computer or whatever. Still, FCD is not at that level, although it is quite advanced. So Elon Musk just continues to say next year and next year. The second ugly thing about Tesla Semi is that the price is kept secret. Of course, you might say that Tesla announced a price for Tesla Semi in 2017. Yes, but that was 6 years ago. And also, of course, we know from Pepsi that Tesla Semi now costs around $250,000. And of course, the price of the superchargers. However, Tesla has never updated the price, and many other websites and sources continue to say that it's 150,000 because Tesla has many claims about the cost of a Tesla Semi with respect to a diesel truck. They don't want to update the price of Tesla Semi and tell the public the real cost of Tesla Semi. So this is one ugly thing, but this is also related to our next point. Number 3 in ugly things about the Tesla Semi is the cost analysis of Tesla. The cost analysis for Tesla Semi is not realistic. This is a very polite way of saying it. It's far from realistic. There are many studies around the world which compare the costs of diesel trucks with the electric heavy trucks. None of them says that at the moment they have similar levels of cost. There are different estimates for when the electric heavy trucks will become at a similar cost level to the diesel trucks. Some say in 2024 and some say only in 2030. But Tesla has been claiming that since 2019 the cost levels for Tesla Semi was similar or better than a diesel truck. Now, if we come to the unrealistic cost analysis for Tesla Semi, we should first say that Elon Musk famously said in 2017 that an operator could save $180,000 in 2 or 3 years by using the Tesla Semi. In fact, Tesla is still saying on its website that operators could save $200,000 in 3 years with respect to diesel, and Tesla Semi is 2.5 times cheaper in terms of energy costs. This is still in the Tesla website, and this picture was taken from there. And there are many people who accept this true, and based on this claim they say that Tesla Semi will disrupt the industry with such cost levels. Also in the 2017 event, Elon Musk himself said many times that the electricity would cost just 7 cents per kilowatt. He repeated this at least 2 times, and he said guaranteed low electricity rates for Tesla, and then 24/7 guaranteed low electricity. And of course Tesla's cost analysis is based on the electricity price of 7 cents per kilowatt hour and $2.50 per gallon of diesel fuel in the United States. Interestingly, in the 2022 event, Elon Musk did not mention these cost calculations at all. The question here is this cost calculation correct or not? There is a very easy way to understand this. We just look at the supercharger prices now in California and other states, for example, and in Europe. And also we look at the petrol prices, and from them we can just calculate the prices for a diesel truck and prices for an electric truck like Tesla Semi. and we know how much they consume energy per mile, and we can just have a rough calculation to see if these costs still are true. What is the cost of running an electric truck today, and what is the cost of running a diesel truck? Let's compare them. What I did was I just searched for the prices on the internet. Everybody can do that. And I have just calculated the cost for diesel and electric truck. I will just show you now the table, and you can just have a look at the table where you can see that the costs for Tesla Semi are not better than a diesel truck. Here, although the official figure is 2 kilowatt hours per mile, later Elon Musk said it was 1.7 kilowatt hours per mile. I just took that as the reference. And for a diesel truck, I took 9 miles to the gallon in US gallons as fuel consumption of a diesel truck. There were previous calculations with lower MPG, but I think they are wrong, because if you are doing the calculation, you should do with the latest consumption figures of the latest diesel trucks. And there are, of course, diesel trucks which are doing even better. In California, superchargers cost an average of 35 cents. So you see, it's not 7 cents as Musk said. In Texas, the price of charging with electricity at a supercharger is 25 cents, so it's lower. And in Europe, Tesla superchargers are much more expensive, especially in Germany. It costs about 50 cents in Germany and 38 cents in Romania. So what these calculations and the tables show is, at the moment, a Tesla Semi or a similar electric heavy truck is not cheaper to run in terms of energy cost. The Tesla claims are not correct. This table just proves that Tesla cost calculations are not correct, but there are a few other points to deduct from these tables. First one is, Tesla and other energy providers will always use market conditions to maximize their profits. They will try to charge as high as possible. The second point is, to get maximum advantage from using electricity, you need to have a charger in your facility. Otherwise, you are just dependent on the superchargers and they are expensive. But when you have your own chargers, you can charge in your own facility. Especially at night, you can use the night tariff, which is better. And also you can use slow charging when you have time at night, and that is also cheaper. Of course, in your facility you can have solar panels, which would also lower the prices for you to charge these vehicles. Now, as we mentioned the solar panels, this just brings us to our fourth point. In the 2017 event, Elon Musk said that the superchargers, the charging stations, would be powered by solar panels, and that's why the price of charging would be very cheap. But a basic calculation shows that it is not very easy to do that. You cannot power a charging station for trucks where 10 or more trucks are being charged at the same time with solar panels. Why? Because to charge one Tesla semi-truck, you need a football field size of solar panels to provide enough electricity. That is like 100 meters to 50 meters. And of course, that's if you are lucky and it's sunny. Even if you cover all of the truck parking space with solar panels, that would still be just like 10 to 20% of the energy that the truck station needs for charging. And for the rest, you are still dependent on the grid. So we will have solar panels and it will be free energy for Tesla Semi is just another false promise from Elon Musk. You know, regarding these charging stations, there is a big problem in Europe and in USA. The trucks don't have enough parking spaces. This is a very, very big problem. And interestingly, the governments and the local governments, they could not find solutions to this problem to this day, and it's getting worse maybe. So it will be really interesting to see how they will find enough space to build these charging stations. There is not enough space even for parking. So we come to number 5 of the ugly things. When you listen to Elon Musk talking about Tesla Semi and the safety features and many other features, you would think that only Tesla Semi has these features. And apparently many Tesla fans believe that. So when Elon Musk talks about enhanced autopilot and other features like automatic emergency braking, forward collision warning, automatic lane keeping assist and other things, and also he said Tesla Semi have a traction control system to prevent jackknifing. Okay, these things are good things to have in a truck, but these are not new things. These things did not come for the first time with Tesla Semi. They were already there before Tesla Semi. Number 6 is another thing similar to number 5, but I would like to especially emphasize this, that's why it's another point. Elon Musk said that the diesel trucks, when they are going downhill, their brakes are heating and they have problems with heating. Yes, from time to time they do have problems, but normally they don't have problems because in the modern diesel trucks we have engine braking, we have retarders or intarders and other different systems to slow the trucks down when going downhill. And these systems provide safe solution to slowing down. And trucks using these systems in a proper way never have brakes heating. For example, in many modern trucks you have cruise control, you just set the speed, and with a little bit of flexibility the truck keeps that speed while going downhill using the engine braking or retarder or any other system that it has. So it goes down without heating the brakes. That's it. But of course Elon Musk needs to exaggerate things in order to praise the Tesla Semi. Now we come to number 7 in the ugly things about Tesla Semi. Elon Musk said they would reach 50,000 units in the production of Tesla Semi after the launch. And he said repeatedly that you would need 1 year to ramp up the production. So after 1 year, Tesla Semi would be produced at 50,000 units per year. In 2019, the Tesla Semi was not launched, but other manufacturers put some models in the market. And what was the size of the market in 2019? Just a few hundred. But even in 2023, the size of the market for heavy electric trucks is only about 10% of that. So this includes all the vehicles which are class 8 in the United States, which are over 16 tons gross total weight. Electric heavy vehicles are expensive, there is not enough charging infrastructure, and there are other problems. So the demand is not there. Elon Musk's dream of 50,000 trucks per year is just a dream for the moment, unless there are improvements to the conditions of these trucks, like charging structure and the investment cost. It would not be realistic to expect 50,000 trucks sale in the coming 3 or 4 years. And to reach any production target, you first need to start series production. So with this number 7, we have also completed the ugliness category. I hope you like this video and see you in other videos.